Hi guys and welcome back to the Mighty Blues. My name is of course Cameron and welcome back today to another live stream. I hope you all are doing really well. It is Monday morning, shortly will be Monday afternoon, but we're still on Monday morning, so I can still get away with saying that. It is the live game review to Everton's 3-1 victory over Southampton on the opening day of the Premier League season last Saturday at Goodison Park. We all returned to Goodison Park and oh my god, how good was that. Seeing all of those hundreds of fans gathered outside the stadium before the game, even being in the pub from a couple of hours before the game and seeing the atmosphere start to build and fans start to topple in. You go from, an empty-ish pub at around about 12 o'clock to all of a sudden you get to 1:30, 2 o'clock and, you can't move within the pub. It's exactly what a match day is, and it's exactly what we've had taken away from us for the last 16-18 months or so because of what's been going on in the world, and rightly so, by the way, seeing the scenes on Saturday. Obviously it was evidential that those scenes couldn't happen during the last, year or so because of what's been going on, but I can't express how amazing it was to be back at Goodison Park, walking through the turnstile, walking up those stairs and seeing the pitch, seeing the ground again, and not only seeing the ground, but also seeing, the ground full and 40 odd thousand Evertonians absolutely, just lapping up, being back at Goodison and taking in that emotion, and it was absolutely amazing. The atmosphere was fantastic. As soon as you get into the stadium, like I said, everyone queuing up for a pie and a pint. It was what football is. It was what going and watching Everton Football Club is and should be. And listen, like I said, unfortunately I wasn't one of those lucky fans who got to watch us last season, in December or for the last game of the season, but I could probably say that even in those games, as good as it would have been to go and watch Everton, and I'm sure it was amazing for those fans that got to see Everton last season, I'm sure it wasn't anywhere near the usual typical sort of match day experience that we're used to, whereas Saturday really was. It felt like we were back to sort of, 2015, 16, 17, all of those seasons where it was just the norm to go back to the game. And I think I said it in the instant match reaction. I was talking to my dad after the game, and I said it's weird because one side of you feels like, oh my god, I haven't been here for so long, I've missed this place so much, and it feels like years since I've been, and it has been years since I've been. But on another side of me, walking up to the stadium, walking through the turnstile, walking up the stairs to get to my seat, being in the pub before the game, it all just felt normal. It all just felt because it's what we've all been doing for however many years of our lives that we've been alive supporting Everton. It all just felt normal, and like I said, as much as we haven't been there for a year or so, and as much as we haven't experienced that for a long time, all of those memories and all of that norm just crept back in, and it almost felt like it was just, again, like I said, we've been doing it every week, and it was, we were just back to our usual routine. It was absolutely amazing. But we're not here just to talk about getting back into the stadium. We are here to talk about the game of football that took place on Saturday. Everton 3, Southampton 1. Rafa Benitez's half-time changes proving vital for Everton in their victory. It was massively important. We got the win on Saturday, massively important. We all knew how difficult it would have been for Rafa Benitez had he have lost this game, not only given the fact that it was the first Premier League game at Goodison Park, but also given the fact that it was against the Southampton team that Everton should have been beaten. Again, like I said, nothing against Southampton and no disrespect to Southampton, but they're a team that have obviously lost a couple of big players this summer, lost Danny Ings to Aston Villa, lost Yannick Vestergaard to Leicester, and okay, they brought in Adam Armstrong, who obviously scored on his debut against Everton. I feel like any player that makes their debut against Everton is guaranteed a goal, even if they're like a goalkeeper, a centre-back, a left-back. If you're making your debut for your club against Everton, you're probably going to score or at least get man of the match, because that just tends to what happens. Everton must get a team sheet at the start of the game and go, anyone having the debut, like one of them party things when you're a kid and you go in, you go to a theme park or a restaurant or whatever, and they show, has anyone got a birthday today? Everton must go, anyone having a debut? Yeah, he's having a debut, alright, we'll let him score, because that's just what happens every single time. But I still think Southampton have significantly weakened their squad, so it was vitally important that Everton went out and got the 3 points today. And we all sort of sat here and we all spoke over the last few weeks about what happens if we go 1-0 down to Southampton. What happens if things aren't going too well in Benitez's first game? What's the reaction going to be? What's the atmosphere going to be? What's the feeling going to be towards him in the stadium? And that happened. That happened. We didn't start the game particularly well. Certainly after the goal was conceded and we were 1-0 down. And again, that feeling of, oh my God, we all spoke about what would happen if we went 1-0 down today it's here, it's happening, we're 1-0 down. And massive credit to Rafa Benitez, because he went into that game in the second half, he made the changes he needed to make at half time with the system and the style, and he moved Damari Gray and Richarlison and put Richarlison next to Dominic Calvert-Lewin and had Damari Gray on the wings instead, and it worked. We come out in the second half and we looked much more organised, we looked much more confident, we looked much better. Obviously we went on and scored the 3 goals, but also defensively in the second half we just looked a lot more calm, and I feel like Rafa Benitez saw the side to this Everton team that he needed to see on Saturday. He saw the side last Saturday against Manchester United, which was that of a team that were just not good enough to keep up with the quality that Manchester United possess. But he saw the side to this Everton team on Saturday, which was that we can start a game well, we can look comfortable in a game, we can look okay, we can be relatively comfortable in possession, we can be controlling the game. We make one stupid mistake and it all falls to bits, because that's what happened on Saturday. We will talk about the Southampton goal shortly, and we'll talk about the Michael Keane mistake, but effectively what happened was we made one mistake, stupid mistake, gifted them a goal, and then for the entirety of the rest of the second half, edge just dropped. We couldn't find any of the players in the final third. We were struggling to get Dominic Calvert-Lewin, Richarlison, Damari Gray, Andros Townsend on the ball. The defence was just lumping the ball up left, right and centre. Michael Keane and Mason Allgate were having an absolute disaster class together. They just couldn't defend at all. The midfield weren't really keeping hold of the ball well enough, and like I said, that's a side to this Everton team that Rafa Benitez needed to see. He needed to see the side that 1 minute are massively comfortable on the ball and are so calm in the game, to the next minute one silly mistake just absolutely ruining that. And we've known this Everton team's got that in it for a long time, under Carlo Ancelotti, under Marco Silva, many a previous manager. We've known that one of the real bad trait to this Everton side is there's too many players that once the head drops, it just drops, and it can't be picked back up again. Once we go 1-0 down, that's it. We saw it under Marco Silva. We never ever came back from being 1-0 down to win a game of football. Now we did that a couple of times under Carlo Ancelotti, but not many. There was so many times last season at Goodison Park, whether it be against Villa, Newcastle, Sheffield United, Fulham towards the end of the season, where we went a goal down, we were struggling and we just couldn't pick our heads back up for the rest of the game. We were just absolutely dreadful, and like I said, that was a side that Rafa Benitez needed to see for me, because he then was able to change that, and in the second half, like I said, we come out, we look much more calmer, we look much more composed. And Dominic Calvert-Lewin done an interview after the game, didn't he, and said he was asked what did Rafa Benitez say at half time to change that, why did all of a sudden Everton look a lot better in the second half, a lot more organised. And he basically said he just told us to go out and be ourselves and don't play with fear and this, that and the other, and be comfortable on the ball and be patient and this, that and the other. I think Dom's left a little bit to be desired there. I think Rafa Benitez done a lot more at half time, because like I said, the change in the side was just completely apparent. And to put it into perspective, I read a stat on Saturday afternoon, which I think is really interesting, and that stat read that Everton hadn't won a Premier League game when being down at half time since September 2015 before Saturday. September 2015, that's nearly 6 years. 6 years next month, Everton had gone without winning a game when being down at half time. So typically for the last 5 or 6 years, the way that game would have gone is we'd have started well, obviously conceded the stupid goal with a stupid mistake, lost our heads, dropped our heads, and that was it. They'd have probably gone on, maybe scored the second at half time and we'd have lost the game 2-0. In the second half and we'd have lost the game 2-0. But it didn't. There was a change. Like I said, not even Carlo Ancelotti, and again, this isn't a stream to sit here and have a go at Carlo Ancelotti and say, oh, this, that, the other, but not even Carlo Ancelotti managed to, again, change a game when Everton went in 1-0 down at half time. Yes, we won games from being behind, which is fine, but it's that. For me, it's that being able to go in the half time break and say to the players, look, that's not good enough, and we won't win the game playing like that. You need to change, and then being able to implement those changes and having a relatively comfortable second half as well. Don't get me wrong, Southampton had periods of play in the second half, but I feel like they only had those periods of play because they were pushing to try and get the second goal, especially when Everton equalised. They knew that, right, whoever gets the third goal in this game is going to go on and win it, and ultimately that left them vulnerable for the Abdoulaye Doucouré thunder rocket into the top corner. I could have used another word on the end of there, but I won't be using another word. If you're enjoying, by the way, please do hit that like button. It does only take a second if you're new to the channel. Don't forget to subscribe. It would mean a massive amount to me. If you're watching live, get your thoughts in the live comments, because we will be going through the majority of those comments over the next hour or so that we will be live streaming. And if you're watching the YouTube video, get your comments down below. But before we get into any of the intricacies and bits and bobs of the game, let's talk about the team news. Rafa Benitez announced his first Premier League Everton side at 2 o'clock, obviously on the afternoon on Saturday. We become quickly known to the fact that James Rodriguez, Moise Kean, Jean-Philippe Gbamin, Ben Godfrey and Andre Gomez were all unavailable. Now that totals up to 5 players. Obviously we've known from Rafa Benitez's press conference on Friday that Everton had 5 players out isolating, James Rodriguez being one of them. However, I'm not too sure that Jean-Philippe Gbamin was a player isolating, because he was seen in a lot of the training videos and a lot of the training pictures that the other players that were supposedly isolating weren't. So there's rumours going around that Ben Godfrey was isolating. That would make sense. Again, nothing's confirmed, so we don't know, for confirmation, but it would make sense because Ben Godfrey wasn't pictured in any of the training videos or pictures last week, and obviously he wasn't in the matchday squad on Saturday. And if he was fit, let's be honest, he'd have started the game because he's one of our best 2 centre-halves. So that would make sense. Andre Gomez, very similarly, not pictured in any of the training videos or pictures, and wasn't in the squad on Saturday, so would have made sense that he was another one of those players that are isolating. Same with Moise Kean, exactly the same situation. Gbamin, Jean-Philippe Gbamin, a little bit different because he was pictured in the training videos, so unless he is had to isolate post those pictures and videos being taken for a completely separate reason to the other players, that's the only way I could see him being part of that isolation. Other than that, maybe he just wasn't fit enough, maybe he just wasn't ready, maybe he just wasn't prepared enough, I don't know. But obviously we were without 5 of those players, and like I said, let's be honest, 3 of them would have, 2 of them would have started, I think, in Ben Godfrey and maybe James Rodriguez, and the others would have been, bench players, and certainly would have come on at some point in the game. So Rafa Benitez started with Jordan Pickford in goal, of course, putting the faith in Jordan after his mistake against Manchester United, again, not letting that get to him, which is a completely right decision. We had Seamus Coleman at right back, Luca Dean at left back, Mason Holgate and Michael Keane in the centre of defence. Again, we'll talk about that partnership in a moment. We had Alan and Abdoulaye Doucouré in the middle of the park. Andros Townsend, Demarai Gray and Richarlison either side of Dominic Calvert-Lewin. Although it was sort of a 4-3-3, 4-4-2 at times, and I think Demarai Gray was actually playing alongside Dominic Calvert-Lewin for most part in that first half, and that was part of the change that Rafa Benitez made at half-time. Alex Iwobi obviously made the bench along with a plethora of other players. Nathan Broder, Jared Branthwaite, great to see him back in the matchday squad as well. Asmir Begovic, of course, John Joe Kenny, and yeah, etc. So that was the team, and I think we all looked at the team and sort of thought, you know what, that's a really good side. It's a more than good enough side to go out and win this game. The bench wasn't particularly strong, so we needed somebody to change the game. There wasn't many options on the bench. Obviously, Alex Iwobi ended up being the player that come on, and he actually did change the game, to be fair. I thought he was brilliant, Alex Iwobi, when he come on. But the team in itself, the starting 11, I think we all sort of thought was a strong starting 11. It was one that you would have seen last season, obviously when James Rodriguez was injured, but we had the inductions of Andros Townsend and Demarai Gray, which only strengthened the squad. And like I said, I think Everton started well. To be honest with you, we were controlling the ball. The atmosphere at Goodison Park was absolutely unbelievable, wasn't it? From sort of the first whistle, the Z cars was just emotion. I mean, listen, I shed a tear. I'll admit it. I shed a tear. I hold my hands up. I shed a tear. I'm sure many people that went to Goodison Park shed a tear. But I did. I shed a tear. There you go. Like I said, it was amazing just to hear the siren again. Obviously, the siren went on for quite a long time, which was amazing. All of the Everton songs prior to the siren, and you just sort of know that it's coming up. Oh, it's coming. You know, obviously Southampton entered the pitch before Everton because they entered from a different, obviously a different side of the stadium because they were getting changed in the park end. So you sort of knew, oh, the siren's coming soon, Z-Cars is coming soon. And it was amazing. It was absolutely amazing that, you know, all of those hairs on the back of your neck, hairs on your arms, they all creep up. That emotion just comes back to you, and you see the players walking on the pitch. And like I said, you get that feeling of it's been so long since I've felt this feeling, but it also doesn't feel like it's been away whatsoever. It just, because it's so normal, it just feels like this is what we're used to. And you know, I almost, maybe I'm different in this. I'm sure some people got that feeling of, oh my God, I've missed this so much because I haven't had it for a while. But I just got the feeling of, this is what I'm used to. This is the norm. This is what it should be like. So it wasn't really, I've missed this. It was more like, yeah, this is where we should be. This is home. This is what we should be feeling. And like I said, it was amazing. The players come onto the pitch. Like I said, the atmosphere was rocking at Goodison Park. And we started the game, and I actually thought we started the game relatively well. To be honest with you, I thought we were comfortable. I think we were struggling at first. I will say, I think we were struggling at first to get the ball into the final third. I think we were struggling to get Dominic Calvert-Lewin, Richarlison, Andros Townsend, Damari Gray all into the game. You know, at first we did have a couple of chances in that first half. One where I think Dominic Calvert-Lewin gets the ball on the right hand side, he cuts a ball across, and Alan comes onto it, and you're sort of screaming for Alan to shoot, aren't you? You're sort of going shoot, and he has a shot, and it ends up being quite a tame shot, and the keeper makes a relatively comfortable save. But like I said, you know, again, we started the game really comfortable in midfield. We were comfortable on the ball. Defensively, we weren't making any silly mistakes. Again, Southampton weren't massively threatening, and then we see a typical Everton goal to concede, really, don't we? We sat here, you know, I think last Monday, and spoke about the Manchester United game and how, you know, not really any of the goals we conceded were, other than the Bruno Fernandes free kick, were goals that, you know, you'd look at and go, you know what, fair enough, they're amazing goals. Every goal we conceded against Manchester United was avoidable and was through, you know, a stupid mistake that we'd made. It was exactly the same on Saturday. The you know, Adam Armstrong's goal was a ridiculous mistake, and I've watched it back on a number of occasions to try and gauge what's happened from the situation, and when you watch the replay of that goal, when the replay first starts, Adam Armstrong is nowhere near the ball, and I don't even think has, you know, the ball on his mind. And I can't remember who the Southampton player was who ended up taking it off Michael Keane, but he's looking the other way. He's looking backwards at his own goal, as if to say, right, okay, this is getting, you know, lumped up here. Let's prepare for it. And there's absolutely no danger whatsoever. There's not even a sniff of danger. There's not even an incentive from a Southampton player until about 4 or 5 seconds into the clip. So we're so comfortable for that length of time. And for the rest of the game, Michael Keane just lumped the ball up, or just got it away, or moved the ball out of his path. And maybe that was because he didn't want to make another mistake. And listen, again, that's understandable. But you're sort of looking, thinking there's ample opportunity there for Michael Keane to have lumped his foot through it. And if he wasn't happy with the movements of the Everton midfield or the Everton attack, or even Mason Holgate, who we're going to touch on in a second, then he could have had a little bit of a moan and said, listen, I've had to lump that up there then because I've got no other option whatsoever. But he doesn't. He dilly-dallies on the ball. He messes about with it. He tries to turn inside. And one thing, the biggest thing I was really frustrated with for Michael Keane isn't necessarily the fact that, you know, he's hesitant in his decision making, isn't necessarily the fact that he doesn't make the pass. It's the fact that he doesn't shield the ball. You're a centre half, you're a big centre half, 6'2", 6'3", strong player. Shield the ball. All as Michael Keane had to do then, when he found himself in a little bit of danger, was go, okay, I'm going to put my whole body over the ball, and as soon as I feel a touch, I'm going to land on the ball. So even if it's not a free kick, I'm on top of the ball anyway, so the referee's got to make a decision. And I feel like that's the difference between a Michael Keane and a Yerry Mina. Well, that's the difference between a Michael Keane and a Ben Godfrey. I don't think Ben Godfrey would have been in that situation anyway. I think he'd have been able to use his strength and his pace to, you know, bat off the attacker that was coming at him. And with Yerry Mina, I feel like Yerry Mina, if he was caught in that situation, which I'm not saying he would be, I feel like he'd have just thrown his whole body over the ball, took a tumble, and just landed on the ball. Because that way you're sort of thinking, okay, I've made a bit of a mistake here. I should have got rid of the ball quickly, or I should have made a decision quicker. So in order to make sure I don't get it taken off me, I'm just going to land on it. And the referee either gives a free kick to us because there's contact, or he's forced to stop the game anyway because I'm over the ball. I've literally landed on the ball and I'm practically picked the ball up and go, hang on, ref, that's a free kick. And then 9 times out of 10, 99 times out of 100, the ref gives a free kick our way, or the odd one time, which wouldn't have surprised me because I thought the referee was an absolute joke on Saturday. He's got to make a decision to give a free kick the other way. Either way, that danger is averted completely because you've made that decision. But he doesn't. He sort of, like I said, he gets caught in two minds and he tries to take the world on, and it's that I can't even say lack of experience, because Michael Keane's a very experienced centre-half. This is a lad who's been at the top level of Premier League football for 5, 6, 7 years. He come through Manchester United youth setup. He come through at a time where Sir Alex Ferguson was there. He's obviously played for Burnley for a while. He's played for Everton for 4 or 5 years now. He's experienced enough to know that when you're in a sticky situation, you do all you can to get out of that sticky situation. And if that's looked at as, oh, you've dived, or oh, you've won, you've bought a foul here, who cares? Who cares? I'd rather go on social media to listen to people saying, oh, what a dive that was by Michael Keane to win that foul, than going on and saying, what's Michael Keane doing? He's completely, he's lost the ball there. Because there was, it's not even like we're sitting here in a situation saying, oh, we gifted Southampton their goal on Saturday. There was no danger whatsoever. The attackers, for the first 4-5 seconds that Michael Keane's got the ball, don't even look interested in getting anywhere near the ball. It's only till they look at him and go, actually, do you know what? He hasn't got control of this here. He doesn't know the decision he wants to make. He's caught in two minds. I'll step in there and I'll take that off him. And Michael Keane allows that to happen. And that is, for me, the biggest disappointment with the goal conceded. Once the ball gets taken off Michael Keane and knocked past Mason Holgate, Adam Armstrong gets one-on-one with Jordan Pickford. And to be fair to Adam Armstrong, it's a really good finish. It's a really good finish. He slots it top in, and Jordan can do nothing about it. Absolutely nothing about it. No fault of Jordan Pickford's whatsoever. But it's just that, again, I can't say lack of experience. I don't know what it is, but it seems like if it was Mason Holgate making that mistake, I'd go, he's not experienced enough to know to just win the foul there. But with Michael Keane, you expect him to be able to understand, right, okay, I've cocked up a little bit here. I've got myself into a bit of a sticky situation, so I'm just going to go over. And even if it's not a foul, I'm going to land on top of the ball and hold the ball so it forces the referee into making a decision. But he doesn't. He's caught in between two mans. He tries to pick the ball back up, take the player on. It gets knocked past him, and Adam Armstrong ends up running in on goal. I do think, to be fair, Keane says in the comments, Michael Keane looks very low on confidence. The door might be far away. He always seems very low. Michael Keane's mad. Michael Keane's a mad one, because when he's playing well, I think he's one of the best centre-halves in the country. I really, really do. When he's at his top level, he's amazing. He's absolutely amazing. Nothing gets past him. He doesn't make mistakes. But he is such a confidence player. And I remember having a conversation with Ped last season, Ped from Toffee TV, about Michael Keane. And he agreed. He said, listen, Michael Keane, when he's on his day, is amazing. But because you can't have confidence players in your team. You can't build your team around confidence players, because you don't know what you're going to get. You don't know what you're going to get from 1 week to another. 1 week you might get a 10 out of 10. Unbelievable performance by Michael Keane. And you're looking at him going, he's amazing. But the next week you might get a 2 out of 10 and he's making 2-3 mistakes that are leading to goals. And you're looking at him going, oh my God, you're awful. You can't have those players in your team. You can't build a team around players that you don't know what you're going to get week in, week out, because they play off of confidence. It's just not, they're not reliable enough. And I understand that completely. I do understand that completely, because this was another big, situation, in a big example in that situation, is that whether it was a lack of confidence, whether it was a lack of know-how, whether it was a lack of, I think he just sort of got a bit flustered and a bit scared, to be honest with you, in that situation, and that's why he sort of went over, and that's why he sort of tried to win the ball back. Whereas again, that bit of sort of, right, I've lost this here, I need to make sure that I either win a foul or I don't let that. First and foremost on Michael Keane's mind, as soon as he realised he was out of control of that ball and the Southampton player was coming at him, the first thing on his mind should have been, right, okay, I don't let them score. That's it. Forget taking the ball back. Forget, anything else. I don't let them score. And if he'd have thought that, he'd have gone over, or he'd have given the foul away on the halfway line where there was very little danger and took a tactical yellow card. If he'd have done that, we'd have all gone, he got caught out there, but at least he made up for it by understanding, right, shit, I'm in a bit of a pickle here. I'll sort it out now, and then I'll take the consequences later. Whereas he didn't. Again, like I said, Southampton knocked it behind. Mason Holgate went in and scored the opening goal. I also don't think Mason Holgate escapes blame for this goal, if I'm being honest with you. And we will move on from the goal in a moment, by the way. We will go on to talking about the positives, which is the second half, of course. We will, because that's why we're here. We're not here to talk about the doom and gloom. We won the game. We won the game 3-1, so we will go on and talk about the second half in a moment and the positives of the second half. If you're enjoying, by the way, please hit that like button. We will also be getting in the live comments in a moment. By the way, I promise you we will be getting in the live comments in a moment. So don't forget to get your comments in live if you're watching. Like I said, leave a like if you're enjoying, subscribe if you're new, all of that good stuff. I also don't think Mason escaped blame, to be honest with you. Now, look, I'm not going to sit here and blame Mason Holgate for it, because it's Michael Keane's mistake. Michael Keane gets caught on the ball, and Michael Keane ultimately is at fault for the goal. But I think Mason could have helped him. I do. I think Mason Holgate doesn't help Michael Keane by practically being stood on his toes, to be honest with you. We have two centre-halves there, and they're standing effectively next to each other. What I would have liked Mason to do was move out, extend that space, pull Adam Armstrong, who was his man behind him, completely away from Michael Keane by moving either out that way or behind him or to the side or in front, and give him an option. Because I do think Michael Keane sort of looks up and goes, right, I've got no one to pass it to that way, and Mason is practically standing on me toe. So if I pass it to him, he is under as much pressure as I am. And either way, it's going to cock up. So that's where he gets caught in between two mans, and that's where he loses the ball. Where I think if Mason looks at the situation and goes, right, okay, I'm going to step back 5, 10, 15 yards here, and I'm going to give him a pass, it attracts the Southampton player away from Michael Keane, Adam Armstrong away from Michael Keane, because he's going to Mason Holgate. Or if he doesn't go to Mason Holgate, Michael Keane's got an easy, comfortable pass, and Mason's got 10, 15 yards of space to either lump the ball forward, get it back to Jordan Pickford, and start again. Whereas, because they're standing, in my opinion, too close, that decision is taken away. That space is nullified, and Michael Keane almost hasn't got that option now. And again, I'm not blaming Mace. I just think that Mason could have done a little bit better. I really do. And it falls into this situation, doesn't it? And Steven says in the comments, we learn Keane and Holgate can't play together. Both are better alongside Mina, so I think one of them needs to be sold. And you know what? I think that's spot on. Moz says, defenders don't pull attackers out of position. I don't mean pull them out of position as per se. I mean drop 10, 15 yards to give Michael Keane a bit more space to pass the ball into, whereas he's effectively standing right next to him. Obviously, Adam Armstrong would have probably just attacked Michael Keane, which is fine, but that gives Mason that room then to pick the ball up. If Adam Armstrong moves with Mason Holgate, then Michael Keane can just lash it up or lash it out of play. But it's the fact that they're standing so close together that I just think don't help whatsoever. Maybe I'm wrong. Listen, I wasn't an attacker when I was a kid. I wasn't a defender when I was a kid. So maybe I'm wrong. But I just think I look at it and think if Mason would have moved a little bit more, moved out a little bit more, he'd have given Michael Keane a different option. Maybe Michael Keane would have still made the mistake. And I think Mason sells himself when Michael Keane does make the mistake, but he has to, because otherwise, he's got to try and get his foot to the ball. But I just think it's completely avoidable, and it is completely avoidable, because if you watch the replay of the goal, you will see the first couple of seconds of the replay, the Southampton players aren't even thinking about attacking the ball. It's not until that decision by Michael Keane isn't made where they go, actually, do you know what, I'm going to there's a chance here, and ultimately that chance ended up in a goal. But as Steven says in the comments, I just don't think Michael Keane and Mason Holgate can play together. I really, really don't. I don't think there's enough leadership there. I don't think there's enough confidence there. I think they are both good defenders, and on their day, they're both really good defenders, but I think they're both really good defenders next to Yerry Mina or Ben Godfrey. I think if you were to tell me now, right, Cam, every single player is fit in the Everton squad, who's your starting centre-backs, I go for Ben Godfrey and Yerry Mina all day long. But if you were to say, right, okay, one of Michael Keane or Mason Holgate has to play, I would have either of them next to Ben Godfrey, or I'd probably have actually next to Yerry Mina, because I think even Ben Godfrey as good as he is, and he's amazing next to Yerry Mina. I think Ben's played a couple of times next to Mason last season, and you can see that lack of experience and maybe even a bit of a lack of a trust doesn't really bode well. So again, and like I said, I'm not trying to dig Michael Keane or Mason out here, but I do feel like if Yerry Mina was in that situation, he would have just shielded the ball. He'd have gone over and probably picked the ball up with his hands and gone to the referee, that's a foul, and the ref would have gone, okay Yerry, that's a foul. But it's forcing the referee into making that decision, whereas Michael Keane didn't force anything. But anyway, yeah, like I said, we concede the goal. We'll move on from the negatives now. Mozza says, I see your point, Cam. Not easy defending them too, lol. Yeah. Gary says, partnerships are important in footy. Strike partnerships, defensive partnerships, wide partnerships. We all remember the beast that was Bainer. Yeah. Baines and Pienaar. Keane and Holgate just don't feel like a partnership. I'd agree. Chad says, problem is as a striker, you want to split the defenders. If Holgate opens the gap, it's on him. He drops back and plays the striker on. For me, it was just disasters by Keane. That's fair enough. Danboy says, I want Mina and Keane to start every game. Mina and Godfrey to start every game for Everton, but Mina misses too much. We need a consistent partnership. Yeah, I would agree, and that's probably another one of the problems. If Yerry Mina didn't have as many injury issues as he does, he'd be in there week in, week out, no problem, and Ben Godfrey would be next to him. But it's those injury issues that, and the fact that obviously he's only just returned to pre-season, was the fact that Mason Holgate and Michael Keane both started the game. But yeah, like I said, we'll move on from the mistake. More sort of worryingly after the mistake for me was the head dropped, which we've known this Everton team has got in it for years, and we've known that for like I said, for a long time. Danboy says, disagree. Holgate not a fault in the slightest. Keane should have passed to Pickford. So I agree. I actually agree, and I'm not putting the blame on Mason here. I just think, I look at it and think, could Mason have moved a little bit more? Could he have sort of stretched that space to give Michael Keane another option? But I'm not blaming Mason Holgate. It's Michael Keane's mistake all day long. It's silly that he's caught in two minds. And like I said, once he gets caught in two minds, his first thought should to be, right, I can't allow them to get one-on-one with the keeper here, so I'm going to win a foul and I'm going to lash it into the box. But he doesn't. He doesn't. But no, fair enough. But like I said, more worryingly for me was the fact that the heads dropped again, and as I said at the start of the scene, this was a trait that Rafa Benitez really needed to see for me. And look, some fans before the game might have said, no, he doesn't need to see that, but for me, he needed to see that this Everton team has got it in them to, start the game really well, look comfortable, make one stupid mistake, and then just completely fall to bits as if the world's over. And it's almost what we did. Michael, like I said, both Michael Keane and Mason Holgate, I thought after the goal just looked really like they were struggling for passing wise, lumping the ball forward. It was just going out of play. Mason got caught once or twice defensively and he got away with it, luckily enough. But again, he just looked like he was struggling. He looked like he was, again, panicking every time the ball came near him, as did Michael Keane. Every time Michael Keane got the ball, he just lashed it forward like he didn't want it, which isn't a good sign whatsoever. Like I said, Southampton were continuing to press, and it was that feeling, wasn't it, we were all dreading, which was, what if we go 1-0 down to Southampton and it's half-time and we're 1-0 down, what happens then? How does Rafa Benitez get the fans back on board? How does Rafa Benitez change that game? We haven't won a game after being 1-0 down at half-time since 2015. And that was the big worry, and I think that was the big feeling on everybody's mind. But yeah, like I said, we go in 1-0 at half time, and all of a sudden we've gone from a good start, an impressive start, to sort of, everyone's edge just dropped. Nobody can really pass a ball in midfield. We're losing the ball comfortably. I thought stout standout players throughout the entire 90. I thought Richarlison was amazing, absolutely amazing. Obviously presented with his gift prior to the game, and I thought for the entire game he was absolutely brilliant. I thought he was absolutely brilliant. I thought Damari Gray had a really good game. I did. On second look, I think Andros Townsend played well. I thought Abdoulaye Doucouré was absolutely amazing. We'll talk about Abdoulaye Doucouré when we go and talk about the second half. I thought Alan played really well. There was times in the first half where he was losing the ball too easily, but I thought for the majority of the game, Alan played really well. If you're enjoying, by the way, please hit that like button. It only takes a second. If you're new, don't forget to subscribe. Danwich says he can't drop 10-15 yards because then our defensive line will be all over the place. That's fine, fair enough. Maybe. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. I just thought that moving and creating a little bit of a space would have been beneficial. But look, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe Mason couldn't have done anything about it. Anyway, let's get into the live comments before we start talk about the second half, because the second half is the biggest. Sort of, Dan says he fancies a pizza. Oh, don't, mate, I'm starving. the second half is the biggest positive of this game, and the halftime changes are the biggest positive, because Rafa Benitez saw it wasn't working, saw that the players had dropped their heads a little bit, saw that the confidence had gone, saw that Southampton were the side that were pushing and looked the more likely to score the second goal, and he changed it. And he had whatever team talk he had at half time, whether that was the old boot up the bum team talk, or whether that was a calm and collective team talk like Dominic Calvert-Lewin said it was, whatever Rafa Benitez said at half time, and the changes that he made in the system and the shape worked massively, because we come out in the second half and we were just completely different. Anyway, let's get into the live comments then before we go into talking about the second half, because we will talk about the second half because it's a game review, obviously. If you're watching live and you're thinking, oh my god, Cam, you're chatting wham, I'd love to get involved in this conversation, get a comment in. If you're watching live thinking, actually that's a good point, Cam, get a comment in. Let's hear from everybody. Chad says, yes, Cam, finally I'm on a live. Is right, Chad, hope you're doing well. He says, and what a time to be alive on a blue. This is the sort of mistake and game that would have sent us reeling in the last couple of seasons. Great to win it. Yeah, spot on, it is. It is, like I said, I'm sorry for repeating myself, but I am going to keep repeating that stat. Everton had not won a Premier League game when being down at half-time since September 2015 before Saturday. September 2015. That is nearly 6 years since Everton went in 1-0 down at half-time, come out and won a game of football, or 2-0 down at half-time, whatever, when Everton were losing at half-time, and come out and won a game of football. On Saturday, we done it like it was just... Yeah, we had a bad first half, we pick ourselves up, we go again in the second half, and we beat a side that we should be beating again. No disrespect to Southampton at all, but Everton, I said this in the preview, no matter whether it's the first game of the season, the last game of the season, in December, in February, every season Everton should be looking at beating Southampton at Goodison Park. We should be, and we did, and that's all we can ask for. Glenn says first, and says, damn you, Chad is right, Glenn. Big up Ned there with the old spellings. Mozza says, alright, Cam, great results, need to be better on the first half on Saturday, like the effort in the second half. Yeah, we do. Look, there's improvements to be made, and we will talk about the Leeds game briefly in a second. B says, when is match preview on? What, the match preview to Leeds? That'll be on Friday. The match preview to this game is already out if you want to go and check that out to listen to what I have to say. But yeah, there's a lot of improvements that need to be made ahead of the Leeds game, because I don't think we can be that defensively vulnerable against Leeds. Look, Leeds got absolutely, they got beaten quite heavily, didn't they, the other weekend against Manchester United, but we know Leeds are a team that come forward and have got good attacking players and can certainly hurt sides, and that defeat against Manchester United isn't, we shouldn't be looking at that going, oh, Leeds are awful, we'll batter them, because they're a difficult side to play, especially at Ellen Road. Obviously their first Premier League game in front of a full capacity stadium for however many years, 15, 20 years, something like that. So it'll be really difficult, and I agree we can't make those same defensive mistakes in the first half. In the game against Leeds on Saturday. I am actually going up to Leeds, by the way, so you will have an instant match reaction after the game against Leeds directly from outside of Ellen Road. Hopefully, or it'll either be outside of Ellen Road or it'll be by the coach on the way home. It depends what the result is. Glenn says, Mr. Camtastic, what's happening, Glenn? He says, question, we saw a massive improvement in the second half in the spirit of building and optimising performance. What could we have done better after the first half? After the first half or in the first half? After the first half? Well, I think we've done everything we could do better. I think Rafa Benitez changed the system. I think he changed the style. I think he added a little bit more confidence into the team. I think he basically said, listen, calm down. You started really well. You've conceded a stupid goal, and now everyone's heads dropped, and we're making Southampton look like Barcelona. Just calm down and, keep your foot on the ball. Don't panic. Get forward, create chances, and it'll work. In the first half, again, I think tactically there's not much we could have done better. I don't put any of the blame for the first half performance on Rafa Benitez, because we started really well. We made a silly mistake, which was down to Michael Keane and his defensive mistake, nothing to do with Rafa Benitez, and then the players' heads dropped a little bit. I don't think that's anything to do with the manager, to be honest with you. And I think that's why at half-time there was a lot of talk, if Everton 1-0 down at half-time, will Benitez get booed off the pitch? Well, he didn't get booed off the pitch. And I think that was because of the reason, because we were all sitting there going, it's not like we're being completely overrun by Southampton. we've conceded a stupid defensive goal, which is nothing to do with the manager or the tactics, and then the heads of the players have dropped, which we've seen on a number of occasions before. So it's now up to Rafa Benitez to change it in the second half, which he did. Forgotten Where the Move says, morning Cam, cracking start to the season. Morning my mate, it was absolutely amazing start to the season, mate. Albie says, hi Cam, how are you, mate? I'm not too bad, hope you're doing well. Creeper Boy says, hi up the effing soffies, is right my mate. And he said that. Alfie then. Ollie says, alright Cam, mate, alright Ollie. Everton Blues says, what a goal by the corner in the celebration, shows how much he cares about the club and Wheels. aka Alan, was bosh. Yeah. Albie says, where do you sit in the ground? Sit in the park, my mate. Keeper Boy says, who should be our centre-backs for the Leeds game? I'd go with Yerry Mina and Ben Godfrey if both are fit. If Yerry Mina's fit and ready to start, and if Ben Godfrey's out of his isolation, well, we assume he's in isolation. He mightn't actually be in isolation, but that is the assumption. Danbury says that 4-4-2 in the second half allowed us to play exactly the sort of football we want to see at Everton. Two fantastic strikers with wingers capable of putting crosses in. Stuff of dreams. Yeah, spot on. Moz says, not Kieran Allgate and Purple Rose says, anyone know why we are looking at cheap players besides the obvious? Buto will cut it in the Premiership, or who Buto will they cut it in the Premiership? But the obvious, probably because of FFP, and we can't just go out and bring in 30, 40, 50 million pounds worth of players. In terms of will the players we're being linked with cut it in the Prem, we'll have to wait and see, mate. We'll have to wait and see. That is to be, I'm sure if we sign those players, that's to be seen, isn't it? But yeah, that's why, because of FFP, really. No, I don't think there's any other reason. We can't go out and spend 30, 40, 50 million on players, so yeah. Anyway, on to the second half. Like I said, massive changes needing to be made at half time. Peter says, I'm on the Scotty road. Massive changes needing to be made at half time tactically by Rafa Benitez, because it just wasn't working in that first half. We'd lost our heads after the goal we conceded, and we just never ever looked like scoring. We never looked like getting back into the game. If any team looked like going and getting the second goal of the game, it looked like it was going to be Southampton. It looked like Southampton were the more confident. They were playing the more free-flowing football, and they probably went in at half time thinking, do you know what, this is a massive chance to beat this Everton side here. But massive credit where credit is due to Rafa Benitez, and I will give massive credit to Rafa Benitez. Some fans mightn't want to, some fans might be hesitant because of the fact it's Rafa Benitez, but I'll give massive credit to Rafa Benitez, because I think if any other Everton manager done this, i.e. a certain Italian manager who walked away last season, I think we'd be sitting here for weeks talking about how amazing he is. So massive credit to Rafa Benitez. He noticed that this wasn't working. He noticed the system wasn't working. He noticed that Richarlison on the left was involved and was working hard, but wasn't involved as an attacking threat as he certainly should have been. So he changed it. He went from the 4-3-2-1 sort of formation. He went to as Dan says, he went to a straight standard 4-4-2. We had Richarlison and Dominic Calvert-Lewin as the strikers. We had Damari Gray and Andros Townsend on the wing, and then obviously we had the midfield of Alan and Abdoulaye Doucouré. We had the same back line, and we changed the game in doing that. Richarlison looked a lot more electric. He looked a lot more of a threat up top. Dominic Calvert-Lewin was all of a sudden in the game a lot more. Celtic says, get rid of that mug, Cam, doesn't look right. It's actually a mug from Carlo's Bakery. Not Carlo Ancelotti, Carlo, the fella who does the cakes, Cake Boss on the telly, if you know. So maybe I shouldn't have used this mug, actually, because I can understand why it seems a little bit thingy. But yeah, it's not for that fella, it's for another Carlo who's actually dead sound and makes boss cakes. Anyway, like I said, we come out in the second half, the formations changed, the systems changed. We've gone to a 4-4-2. All of a sudden, Damari Gray, Andros Townsend getting forward, throwing crosses into the box. Damari Gray put a really good cross into the box in the first half, actually, and Dominic Calvert-Lewin headed it over, which isn't like Dominic Calvert-Lewin. But another interesting stat, Everton put 17 crosses into the box on Saturday afternoon. We averaged, I think, 40 in a game last season, so that's already 3 more than what we were averaging in a game last season. And this is something that Rafa Benitez has spoken about, and a lot of Evertonians have spoken about, when bringing in a player like Andros Townsend specifically, as well as Damari Gray, but more so Andros Townsend, who is, again, last season was, in terms of stats, the most accurate crosser in the Premier League. When you bring a player like that in, and you sort of, you're basically saying, right, this is the tactic, and this is the right tactic, by the way. You've got the best header of the ball in Premier League football in your 6-yard box, arguably one of the best headers of the ball in the world in your 6-yard box. Our tactic should be get to those wide areas, and throw balls into Dominic Calvert-Lewin. I don't care if it doesn't look pretty. I don't care if it doesn't look amazing. I don't care if it's route one, this, that and the other. That should be our tactic. Get on the wings, bring in or have on the pitch two really good wingers, two really accurate crosses of the ball, and have Dominic Calvert-Lewin. And by the way, Richarlison, who is another fantastic header of the ball here. Let's not overlook Richarlison's ability, to head the ball. He's a brilliant header of the ball. You've got those two in the box. The likelihood is, if it's not Dominic Calvert-Lewin lashing it into the top bin, it's Richarlison lashing it into the top bin. And that's, I think, what Everton tried to do on Saturday. Obviously, we did for the third goal, which was amazing. But I think we'll see a lot more of that from Everton this season. A lot more of that Dominic Calvert-Lewin Richarlison partnership up top, Damari Gray and Andros Townsend on the wings. Maybe if we bring in another winger, they might feature as well. But it'll just be balls into the box, and I think Dominic Calvert-Lewin and Richarlison will have a field day, to be honest with you, if we can keep that up. But like I said, I think it was 17 crosses into the box on Saturday, which was amazing. And all of a sudden, we looked a lot calmer defensively. I don't know whether Rafa Benitez had pulled Michael Keane and Mason Holgate aside at half-time and just put his arm around them a little bit and said, listen, calm down, fellas. I don't know. But we just looked a lot calmer. And we get back into the game almost instantly. We get a corner kick. Like I said, I think it was about the 55th minute, something like that, into the second half. Get a corner kick, ball comes in, it gets cleared out. Andros Townsend is on the edge of the box, by the way, and I think this by Andros Townsend is very, very clever. I don't want to over-analyse things because I can get a little bit carried away sometimes. Dave said, I'm massively pro Rafa, specifically after Saturday. Doof looks like I'm a different player. Yeah, he did, mate. He was amazing. We'll talk about the core in a moment. I don't want to over-analyse things, but I honestly really, really think that the header back into the box by Andros Townsend is amazing, because Andros Townsend had a number of options there. What he could have done was he could have brought the ball down and tried to play it back out to either the wide positions for them to cross the ball back in. He could have tried to take a shot from outside of the box and go for the spectacular, which, to be fair, I wouldn't have blamed him, because knowing Andros Townsend, he'd have buried it. But what he does is the ball comes out to him and he sort of instantly thinks, I want to get this back into the box. This needs to get back into the danger area, because the moment I take it down and take a touch or play it to the wide areas or line up for a shot, the defence are automatically, they've become they've sort of understood what I'm going to do. They've gotten back into the shape. They know what I'm going to do. They're like, right, okay, let's defend this. That header back into the box doesn't allow any of the Southampton defenders to sort themselves out quick enough, because it's gone out, and almost as soon as it's gone out, it's come back in. And we saw that with Richarlison's goal, because I think it's Salisu who was meant to be marking Richarlison, just completely lets it go over his head. I think under the assumption that Alex McCarthy in the Southampton goal is going to come out and pick it up. But Alex McCarthy, I think, is under the assumption that Salisu is going to clear it. So those two are completely conflicted in what each other are going to do. And obviously, big Richarlison, the main man himself, gets on the end of it and seizes that opportunity like any top quality striker and top quality attacker would do, and puts the ball into the back of the net. Ball drops into the danger area, and obviously he gets his foot on it off the bar and into the back of the net, and it's amazing. It's absolutely amazing to see Richarlison score, because this is a fella who I think is just I just think is brilliant. I absolutely love Richarlison with all of my heart. I said it on the weekend, on the instant match reaction, and I'll say it again. I told myself that I wouldn't get emotionally invested with any other Everton player. I am emotionally invested with Richarlison. I don't care. I am emotionally invested with Richarlison. I love that fella. I think he's amazing. I think he's absolutely amazing. And I read a stat yesterday, and I'm hoping that I liked it on Twitter, because it's amazing. And I really want to read it out to you, but I'm not too sure if I liked the tweet on Twitter. I don't know why I wouldn't have liked it. But I don't. Yeah, here we go. I did like it. I liked it. So listen to this, right? Since June 21st, 2020, so that's just over a year ago. A year in calendar terms, not even a year in football. Since June 21st, 2020, Richarlison has played 67 games, totaled 5,531 minutes, and been involved in 30 goals and 1 Olympic gold. This lad returned from the Tokyo 2020 Olympics 7 days ago, when Everton played Southampton. He returned home last weekend. He's had no pre-season. Yes, some would say, but he's been playing consistently over in Tokyo. He's been playing with Brazil in a completely different climate, in a completely different situation. He's gone straight from the Premier League season, last season, finished that, went straight over to play in the Copa America, got to the final of the Copa America, so had no rest whatsoever, lost the final unfortunately, went straight to Tokyo to play in the Olympics, no rest after the Copa America, played the entirety of the Olympics, won gold, again, no rest because he got all the way to the final, landed back in the UK 4 or 5 days after winning the gold medal, and a week after winning the gold medal is in Everton starting 11 to play Southampton. And not only that, but he gives 185% for the entirety of the time that he's on that pitch on Saturday, and he gets the goal that he deserves. This lad is football personified. He is everything you want in a footballer, and I don't care if people say, oh yeah, but sometimes he doesn't look happy, or he bounces around a pitch with an attitude on, or he doesn't look like he's smiling. Nobody, and I mean, and listen, everyone's entitled to their own opinion, but for me, nobody can question the commitment of that lad. That lad gives 150% every time he puts an Everton shirt on. He gives 150% every time he puts a Brazil shirt on. And yes, sometimes he doesn't play well. And yes, sometimes he makes bad decisions. He made a bad decision the other day diving. It was a silly dive. He ended up getting booked for it. Probably shouldn't have been booked for it because, you know, Jack Grealish or Mo Salah or any of them don't get booked for diving. But he made a silly decision. He dived when he shouldn't have done. He's a young lad. He will make bad decisions. He will have games where he looks like he's having a strop, or he's not very happy. He'll have games where he doesn't really perform and we're wanting more out of him. But there's one thing I just cannot take any sort of anybody that questions this fella's commitment to football. All as Richarlison wants to do is play football. That's all as he wants to do. He just wants to play footy, and he just wants to play footy forever. And look at how happy he was when he was presented with that frame at the start of the game. What did he do? He went out there, he gave 150%, like I said, for the 80 minutes he was on the pitch. He was battling, he was working hard, he was winning the ball back, he was running at defenders. And more importantly than any of that, for Everton as a football club, if Everton wanted to progress up the table, he was in the right place at the right time. He saw the situation and he went, right, I'm getting on the end of it. He saw the defender was hesitant. He saw the goalkeeper was hesitant, and he went, right, I'm going to make them pay for this. And he obviously gets on the end of the ball. And he knocks it into the back of the net, and it's an amazing goal. You see in a celebration, he's smacking the badge, he's doing the knee slide. He loves Everton Football Club. He absolutely loves Everton Football Club, and I love Richarlison. I think he's boss. I think he's absolutely boss. The work rate, the passion, the determination, and just the overall want to play footy. That's all this lad wants to do. He's had a tough upbringing. There's interviews on the internet that you can go and read of him talking about his upbringing and how much of a struggle it was, and how a lot of his friends are in prison for various different things, and how he was in a sticky situation as a child. All as he wants to do is play footy. All as he wants to do. He even come out the other week and put out a quote saying, I'm lucky enough to do for the job what many people would dream of doing for the job. I don't need to rest. I'll rest when I retire. And some people would go, oh yeah, but he's not going to come out and say I want to. I put that out on Twitter, I think, and some people were saying, yeah, but to be fair, Cam, he's not going to come out and say, I want to rest, this, that, and the other. He's obviously going to come out and say he wants to play footy. Okay, maybe he wouldn't come out and say, yeah, I want to rest, I'm knackered. But he was well within his rights to phone Everton up and say, listen, I've just played an entire Copa America tournament. I've just played an entire Olympic tournament. I want at least a week, 2 weeks off before I come back to Everton because I'm knackered here. But he didn't. He landed literally back in the country 3 days later and is in the starting 11 a week later for the opening game of the Premier League season. He won gold. He won gold on a Saturday and scored against Southampton, the other side of the world, the next Saturday, with no rest in between. No one taking jet lag into consideration, recuperate this, that and the other, straight back into the team. You simply can't question this lad's commitment. You can't question it, and I love him. I love him because he's committed to Everton Football Club. There's a lot of talk about whether he wants to leave or not in the summer. I'm sure a lot of teams do want him. I'm sure Carlo Ancelotti would like to bring him to Real Madrid because Carlo Ancelotti understands his commitment and understands his quality. But Richarlison has never entertained any of those rumours. Richarlison never talked about any of that. All as he's done is shown that he wants to come and play football in a blue shirt. We seen his social media post the other day when he returned to USM Finch Farm talking about how, he couldn't have asked for a better welcome home, and this is why he'll always give 110% for this football club and the fans. I love him. I absolutely love him, and it's a great goal. Like I said, it seems like when you watch it again, it seems like such an easy goal, but it's not. It's a great goal. He's in the right place at the right time, and he knocks it past Alex McCarthy, and he gets Everton back into the game straight away in the second half. We will be getting back in the live comments, by the way. If you're enjoying, please hit that like button. It only takes a second, and if you're new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe. Why not? If you're watching the YouTube video, leave your thoughts in the YouTube comments, and we'll get involved with as many of them. But yeah. He gets Everton back into the game with a really nice finish to put it to 1-1, and then all of a sudden, again, Everton, the momentum starts to switch. Everton starts to pick up the ball a lot more. Everton starts to get forward. Everton starts to control the game a lot more, and Everton seems to be the side that are threatening, are looking more likely to. Daniel says, Cam, I think you're a bit unsure about your feelings towards Richarlison. I love him, mate. I love him. And Gary says, saying it is one thing, doing it is another, and he proved every single word he said by every single blade of grass he covered on Saturday. He ran his heart out for our football club. Yeah, listen, I'm getting emotional talking about him because I love him. I reckon he's boss. I do, and honestly, the day he leaves Everton Football Club, I probably will be heartbroken because I think he's amazing. But like I said, we scored the goal. Richie gets the goal, and all of a sudden we look the more threatening side. We look the side that are in the game. We look the side that are going to go and get the second goal. We look the side that are really pushing Southampton. But then there was a period in the game where, and this happens all the time after a momentum switch. You always get a momentum switch when you score. If you go from 1-0 to 1-1, or you go from 0-0 to 1-0, you always get that momentum switch where for 5 or 10 minutes after you've scored, you're the team on top. You're the team pushing for the next goal. You're the team, wanting to get, wanting to go and kill the game off. You're the team that are really, really pressing, and the opposition are sort of backs against the wall. But it's mad, isn't it, the way the world works? I'm not going to sit here and talk about it, but it's mad the way the world works, because that's a momentum switch, and that momentum switch puts every sort of ball in Everton's court and no balls in Southampton's court, but it only lasts about 5 or 10 minutes. So if you don't make the most of that and go and get your second or your third goal during that momentum switch, then it's going to come to a point where that calms down and Southampton slowly but surely start to creep back into the game. And I think that's what happened. We had that 5 or 10 minutes where we were really, really, really sort of, we were really, really sort of, back into the game. And again, we were the team that were pushing. We were the team trying to get the third goal of the game. But we didn't. We couldn't get it. Again, like I said, I think there was one ball across the box that Richarlison nearly got on the end of. Dominic Calvert-Lewin as well. Demarai Gray got into a good area and played the, tried to take a shot and it didn't quite work. But the more and more that momentum faded out, the more and more Southampton started to get back into the game. And although they didn't massively look like threatening Everton like they did in the first half, they still were seeing a lot of the ball, but they still were getting forward, and you're sort of still sitting there thinking, don't let Southampton be the team that get the second goal. Don't please don't let don't let them get the third. And because then obviously at this point it was the typical old saying in football, which is whoever gets the next goal wins the game effectively, and that's what it was. Whoever got the next goal win the game. But like I said, this is more where I look at Rafa Benitez's half-time team talk, and where I look at Rafa Benitez as a manager. We had that period. It wasn't like, and it'd have been amazing to go out in the second half and just have been we were absolutely amazing, but it'd have been amazing to just go out there and Southampton not have 10% of the ball and Everton just absolutely blow them away. That would have been boss. But I actually think Southampton having that period in the second half where they did have the ball for 5-10 minutes and they were the team that was sort of pushing forward, I actually think it was really beneficial for Everton, because it showed that whereas defensively in the first half, after we conceded the goal, we looked really, really shaky, we looked really, really poor, and we couldn't, the confidence was shot, and the defenders didn't want to defend, and we looked awful. In the second half, after that half-time team talk, and after we got back into the game, when we were asked to defend, and when the defenders were asked to do their job effectively, they done it really well. They done it relatively calmly. We weren't put under any real pressure whatsoever. Southampton had a couple of corners. Michael Keane made a couple of really good blocks in the second half, and like I said, Southampton had a couple of really good corners with James Ward-Prowse from that right-hand side or left-hand side, where he whips the ball with his right foot and he puts it directly on Jordan Pickford's throat every single time. And to be fair to Jordan, like I said, not a fault for the goal, and he done fantastically well to deal with every single one of those corners in. He dealt with them all, picked them up, knocked the ball out, and we defended really well during those periods in the second half. That Southampton were coming forward, and that Southampton were seeing most of the ball. We didn't, we weren't panicking. We didn't sort of let our heads drop again. We looked a lot more confident. We looked a lot more composed. And yeah, Everton end up being the team, thankfully, that go out and get the the third goal of the game. What a goal that was. We break forward. Alex Iwobi's come on at this point, and I think that's a really, really interesting... I think that's a really, really important factor to mention, because I think, to be fair, Alex Iwobi changed the game. I do. Listen, some people mightn't like to hear it, some people mightn't agree with it, but I think Alex Iwobi coming on changed the game. He just added something a little bit more different. At this point, Andros Townsend was sort of fading out the game a little bit. He wasn't as involved as we would like him to be. Same with Damari Gray, really. He'd worked his socks off, and again, you could see there was a little bit of tiredness there. Pardon me. And Rafa Benitez decided to bring on Alex Iwobi, which I think... As soon as he brought him on, that there was this air in the stadium, is almost like a, come on Alex, do something, show that you've got the quality, show that you can be a member of this team. We all want Alex Iwobi to succeed. Whether we think he will or not, we all want Alex Iwobi to succeed. Of course we do. We want every Everton player to succeed. I'd love Fabian Delph to score 15 goals this season. He's not going to, but I'd absolutely love him to. We all want every Everton player to succeed. And I think when Alex Iwobi come on the other day, there was this air of like, come on Alex, just do something. Let this be the season where we actually really see that you've got like a lot of quality and that you're a top player. And to be fair, he come on. Glenn says, quick, Cam, do a rapid flow test. Asthma, mate. I'm negative. I've tested. I'm negative. But yeah, he come on and he was direct. He was picking the ball up. He was running at the defenders, and he was actually, his sort of sole focus was, right, I've been brought on here to win Everton this game. I've been brought on here to be the difference maker. I can't just stroll around the pitch and not do anything. I can't just make the easy pass. I've got to show them, the manager, that I can be the difference maker between Everton winning a game and not winning a game. And to be fair, he was that. He come on and he added that bit of energy that I just think Southampton massively struggled to cope with and to deal with. And all of a sudden we get a quick free kick in the middle of the park. Alan plays it quickly. I remember watching Alan play the quick free kick, and I sort of had my head in my hands thinking, why have we played a quick free kick there? Why couldn't we just have lined the ball up, had Luca Dean whip it in? Luca Dean had a free kick early on in the game, which he hit into the wall, which would have been amazing had he have scored. And you're sort of thinking, it's 1-1. We've got 15 minutes to go. Just get the ball into the box. You've got Dominic Calvert-Lewin there. You've got Richarlison there. Why are we taking a quick free kick? Alan takes it quickly, gets it over to Seamus Coleman. Seamus Coleman dinks the ball into Alex Iwobi. Alex Iwobi hit. I think it's actually Alan plays it to Decore. Decore plays it to Coleman. Coleman dinks it into Iwobi. I actually thought originally Iwobi was offside. So I thought as soon as Iwobi headed the ball, I thought that's going to get flagged. He's offside there, but he wasn't. He heads the ball back to Decore, and oh my God, Abdoulaye Decore, who, by the way, was man of the match on Saturday. Absolutely amazing from start to finish. He is such a good footballer, Abdoulaye Decore, and he's such an important footballer as well, because he's everywhere. We just talked about Richarlison covering every blade of grass. Abdoulaye Decore literally covers every single blade of grass. He is everywhere on the football pitch. He's again, every time the ball's in the air, he's the first there to win the ball back. Every time the ball's bouncing on the floor, he's there in the mix. And he's so clever, Abdoulaye Decore, because he almost... every single time he goes for the ball, 9-10 times out of 10, he almost certainly wins the ball back, but he never gives a foul away. He's always in the mix, whether it be in the air, whether it be on the floor. He's always in the mix. He's always battling. He's always putting his weight around, but he always comes away with the ball, and he never really gives a foul away either. So he's got this and it's amazing, because it just shows how good of a footballer he is, that he doesn't just go bulldozing in and give fouls away willy-nilly, stupidly. He goes bulldozing in. He doesn't give fouls away, he wins the ball back, and we end up attacking from it, or we end up, moving forward, and I just think he's fantastic, and he done it all game on Saturday. All game he was exceptional. He was absolutely exceptional. He was everywhere. He was battling, he was fighting, and I think, I honestly really do think, and I think the same with Alan. I thought Alan played really well as well. I think both of those players benefited massively from the crowd. I really, really do. I think Alan is very like Richarlison in the sense that when there's a crowd there, and when there's there's fans behind the team, I think Alan just laps off of that massively. I think he absolutely loves it. And same with Abdoulaye Decore. He was everywhere, absolutely everywhere on Saturday, winning the ball back in every situation, moving the ball forward, battling in the air, battling on the floor. His touch was great. Every time there seemed to be a sense of danger for Southampton in that second half, Abdoulaye Doucouré was there to absolutely... He was like the fireman, wasn't he? Every time there seemed to be a little bit of fire, a little bit of danger from Southampton, Abdoulaye Doucouré bounces in with his big fire extinguisher, and he's like, shh, not a chance, mate, not a chance, and he just deals with it, and we go forward, and everything's sound again. But like I said, he picks the ball up in the box, he takes a turn inside, and you're sort of thinking, that's it. I was sort of thinking he'd play the ball off, or he'd have a shot on his first goal, but he doesn't. He takes that turn inside, and all of a sudden, we've gone... This is how amazing this goal is. You go through the emotion of shoot to, oh, he's ruined it, to, oh my God, he's blasted it into the top corner, what's going on? You go through all those three emotions. Usually it's just shoot and then into the top corner, or usually it's like, oh, we've ruined it into the top corner, but we literally went from the have a go to, oh no, he's cut inside on his right foot, what's he done there, to, actually, do you know what? On his left foot, sorry, actually, do you know what? He's got the ball onto his right foot, and the goal's amazing. The goal is absolutely... Joe says, don't think Dukes has ever had a bad game for us. He's had a couple of games where he hasn't looked as good as he usually does, but I'd agree. I don't think he's had a particularly bad game, but he was amazing. He was. I give him a 9 out of 10 on the player ratings. I probably should have given him a 10 out of 10. He was amazing. He was absolutely amazing the other day. But the goal is just phenomenal. I can't stop watching it. Let us know in the comments, by the way, if you've managed to stop watching Abdoulaye Doucouré's goal. If you're watching live, let us know live. If you're watching the YouTube video, get it down below. Has anybody managed to stop watching Abdoulaye Doucouré's goal? Because I haven't. I genuinely haven't. I've spent the entire morning watching it. I spent the entirety of yesterday. Every time I was on my phone, I found myself just looking at it and smiling, because it's amazing. Not only the goal, the celebration, but let's talk about the goal. He gets it onto his right foot. It bounces off his left foot a little bit, but he takes it under control really, really well. And once that ball leaves his foot, it's only going one place, mate, and that's rifling into the top corner. It's amazing. It's an absolutely amazing finish, and it's the type of finish that we've been screaming for Abdoulaye Doucouré to do for since he joined Everton Football Club. We saw Abdoulaye Doucouré score goals last season, and score some really good goals, to be fair to him. The goal against Manchester United was a neat finish. He scored in the Carabao Cup early on in the season. Really good finishes. But I think we all wanted to see more of that Abdoulaye Doucouré that lashes his foot through the ball and rockets one into the top corner. He done it for Watford on a number of occasions, and we hadn't really seen an awful lot of that at Everton so far. And Abdoulaye Doucouré come out in an interview last week and spoke about how he wants to play in more of an attacking role. He wants to be more of an attacking threat. He wants to score more goals. He wants to get involved more up top. And boy, did he do that on the opening game of the season. The spin, the turn, and the shot is just... It's still going now. It burst the net. It found a hole in the ladder seat. It's burst through the ladder seat, and it's still going now. It's the opposite of a meteor, that. Whereas a meteor comes down dead fast, it's the opposite. It goes up dead fast. It's gone. It's in the air. It's amazing. It's an absolute rocket of a goal. It's an unbelievable finish, and it's arguably a contender for goal of the season already in week 1. And don't get me wrong, there was a couple of really good goals over the weekend in the Premier League, but that is arguably a contender for goal of the season already. It's just absolutely amazing. It really, really is. And the celebration afterwards is just boss, isn't it? The celebration is just everything you want to see in an Everton celebration. The shirt comes off, he's straight into the crowd, and that's what I love about Abdoulaye Doucouré. Is typically with these, with goals and stuff, when there's a pitch invasion, you might get the players celebrating and then fans running onto the pitch to join the players on the pitch. That wasn't the case this time. I've seen some Liverpool fans taking the piss. Oh, did the Blues pitch invade after winning 3-1 against Southampton? Firstly, I think they pitch invaded after winning against Tranmere in a friendly, but it wasn't necessarily a pitch invasion, was it? Doucouré ran into the crowd. The first thing Doucouré had on his mind when that top come off and he rifled that ball into the top of the net was, where's the nearest Everton fan I can find? I'm going to give him a hug. And in doing that, obviously fans got onto the pitch, which was amazing. Seamus Coleman at his knee slide was just boss. His smacking Doucouré on the chest was amazing. Running after a fan with his mobile phone, Seamus Coleman did, because the fan had dropped his phone, was boss as well. There's a picture of Dominic Calvert-Lewin with his arm around 2 Evertonians, just absolutely loving it. Richarlison's in it, jumping on top of a parley on with multiple Evertonians and multiple players. It was just boss. It was absolutely boss to see, and it's what football's about. It is exactly what football's about. And if you're sitting there making snarky comments on Twitter, whoever you support, not just Liverpool fans, but if you're a fan and you're sitting there making snarky comments on Twitter about that goal and that celebration, then you're not a football fan, and you certainly don't go to football. You certainly don't go to the match. You don't go and watch your team. You like football because of FIFA. You don't like football because of football, because that's what football's about. Football is about not having gone the game in 18 months, not having seen our team live in the flesh, the game being 1-1, bit of a rugby game. You sort of, you don't want the day ruined because you want to win the game, and then your midfielder rifling one in from, the edge of the box when you never expected it, and then everybody just that emotion, that elation on the pitch celebrating. That's exactly what football's about. And if you watch that clip and go, that's funny, that look at the Blues there, then you're not a football fan, to be honest with you. You don't like footy. You really don't like footy, because that's exactly what football's about. Exactly what football's about. It was amazing to see. It was an amazing goal, and yeah, like I said, rifles into the top corner. Abdoulaye Doucouré's celebration was amazing, and his performance alongside Alan, I thought was brilliant. I thought, like I said, Doucouré got to every ball that he had to get to. His goal was fantastic, but not just his goal, his overall play was brilliant. Picking the ball up, intercepting the ball, like I said, completely just extinguishing that danger that Southampton were bringing in the second half when they were trying to get forward and trying to get that third goal of the game. And he was boss. He was absolutely boss. And yeah, he what a performance, and what a performance by Alan as well. Some people seem to think that Alan didn't really have a great game the other day. I thought Alan was brilliant. I really, really do. I thought Alan was absolutely brilliant. I think, again, he was everywhere. He was picking the ball up. He was that bulldozer in midfield, as his nickname goes. He was everywhere. He was just floating about constantly. He was picking the ball up. He was winning challenges. He was excellent. He was absolutely excellent all game, in my opinion. There was a couple of times he gave the ball away in the first half, granted, but there was a couple of times that I think every Everton player gave the ball away in that first half. But I thought Alan was excellent, and like I said, no better performer on the day than Abdoulaye Doucouré. Maybe Richarlison as well. Richie probably can take the man of the match as well, but I thought Abdoulaye Doucouré was brilliant, absolutely brilliant, and deserved that goal. And what a goal it was, and what a celebration it was. And Everton go 2-1 up, and you're thinking, right, okay, calm it down a little bit here. No need to let them score a third. Southampton obviously naturally were pushing to try and get the equaliser. If you're enjoying, by the way, hit that like button. 57 likes. If you could get to 65, 70 before the end of the stream, it would be great. If you're new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe. If you're watching a YouTube video, leave your thoughts. We will get back in the live comments in a moment. But yeah, again, like I said, Southampton were pushing to try and get forward. And obviously we go up the other end of the pitch and we get the third. Again, Alex Iwobi, brilliant play by Alex Iwobi. Plays a lovely ball into Richarlison. Richarlison doesn't even look up. Richarlison just knows, right, I can lash this ball anywhere within that 6-yard box. Dominic Calvert-Lewin's getting on the end of it. Doesn't look up. Lashes out an amazing cross into the box. And Dominic Calvert-Lewin diving header. Andy Gray like diving header right onto the into the goalkeeper. Too heavy, too powerful for the goalkeeper to do anything about it. It goes in the back of the net, and Dom's got his goal as well, and all of a sudden Everton 3-1 up. Game, set and match. Absolutely amazing. And yeah, Everton see the game off and win the game 3-1. Fantastic. Not the greatest first half performance by any stretch of the imagination, but the most important thing was the manager saw that and changed it in the second half, and we went out and we were a much better side. We were a much more calm, composed side. Like I said, Abdoulaye Doucouré, Alan, amazing. Iwobi come on, and to be fair to Iwobi, was brilliant, absolutely brilliant. He changed the game with his directness, and he added that little bit of energy that we really needed. We looked, at the time before he come on, we looked a little bit not void of ideas, but we looked like we were struggling to really create much. Andros was, I think, struggling a little bit. Same with Demarai Gray, and Alex Iwobi brought that extra bit of, quality and was involved in both of the, the second and third goal. So again, amazing substitution by Rafa Benitez. Anthony Gordon come on, done a little bit of a run around, which was nice, and then obviously Yerry Mina come on and just showed that defensive lineup. But yeah, Everton win their first game of the 2021-2022 Premier League season with a 3-1 victory over Southampton. Changes in the second half, or changes at half time, proving to be vital for Everton, and Rafa Benitez has got his first Premier League win as Everton manager. Let's get into the live comments then before we do finish up. Really appreciate everybody joining us live. Where are we? Ajox says, just asking, is Godfrey not fit, or did Rafa just pick Holgate? There's rumours that Ben Godfrey is one of the 5 players that's isolating. We don't know that for certain, but obviously he wasn't pictured in any of the training videos or pictures last week, and he wasn't in the matchday squad. So one would assume that he's not available to play for one reason or another. Dan says, feel sorry for the bloke in front of me when Decore scored, must have kissed him on the head at least 4 times. Is right, mate, is right. Guy says, why is DCL not appreciated with a decent song, do you think? Probably because we just haven't made a decent song for him yet. Let's get a song made for Dominic Calvert-Lewin. By the way, amazing banner for Jordan Pickford at the start, by the way. Again, a banner that some opposition fans will take the mick out of. Amazing banner. Jordan deserved that. He was brilliant in the summer, and he deserves to have our full support. Ajox says, thanks for the info, Cam. No worries, my mate, no worries. Sure, we'll learn more about Ben Godfrey and the rest of the players that were out during the week. Nico says, that cross from Richie for the 3rd goal was a beauty. It was amazing. Livramento was brilliant. Couple of good performances by Southampton. You know, Livramento was good. On the day. I thought Adam Armstrong impressed as well, to be honest with you. Really good finisher of the ball. The goal, even though it was a silly mistake by us, the finish was amazing. Danboy said 99% of our strikers try to boot that Richie's cross, by the way, but not DCL. He gets himself horizontal and blasted, diving heading into the back of the net. Legend. He loves heading the ball, mate. He loves heading the ball. It was amazing. Tom says, Hoot will be a great signing for us, hopefully, if he comes in. Danboy says, Cam, I'm loving the new backdrop. Looks boss, mate. I predict the big things for your channel this season up the toppies. Thank you very much, my mate. Really appreciate it. If you like the new background, then leave a like on the stream. That will be amazing. Keaton says, will Hammers play for Everton again? Nice show, Cam. Cheers, mate. I hope so, but the reality of the situation is I don't know. Joe says, was great to see the players fighting like that, similar to the Dunks game against Chelsea. Spot on. Jake says, I was at the game, lads. Decore ran up to me and a few other fans and hugged us, lads. He tagged us on the pitch, living in the moment. What a beauty. See, that, just saying that, it might sound a bit soft here, but just saying that brings that like emotion back to, I don't know if anybody else feels like that, but reading that comment from Jake there, saying it out loud, it's emotional because it just shows how much we've all missed going the game. We've all missed being there, being at Goodison Park, watching Everton. We all know that. We talk. I raffle on about it every single time I come on the channel and do a video or a live. I talk about how much I've missed going to the game. But it can sometimes be overlooked how important we are as a fan base to these players. It's so easy to go, oh yeah, well these players are on 100 grand a week, 60 grand a week. They don't care about the fans. That comment by Jake there, showing that it wasn't fans invading the pitch to get to the players. The players invaded the stands to get to the fans. Decore ran to the fans and said, come on the pitch, come and celebrate this moment with us. It shows how much as a fan base we mean to those players on that pitch. Abdoulaye Decore, Seamus Coleman, Richarlison, Dominic Calvert-Lewin, all of those players in blue. That shows how much we mean as a fan base to them, how much our support means to them. They missed us massively last season. We had a shocking a home record because they missed us massively. Now that we're back, and that shows that. That's an amazing comment. Jake is right, mate. I'm made up for you. I'm absolutely made up for you. Nico says, too, Dan, don't see many diving headers these days. Yeah, spot on. Jonesy said, Rafa deserves a lot of credit for that win. He does. Still more work to be done, says Charles. Absolutely. Like I said, we can't be that defensively vulnerable against Leeds as we were in the first half on Saturday. We need to be a lot better. We need to be a lot calmer. We need to be a lot more confident on the ball, not making silly mistakes, because Leeds can be a really good side going forward. And Tazul says, we'd love to see Godfrey and Gabaman against Leeds. Will make us more solid. Yeah, well, let's hope that they're both fit. If they're both fit to play, then I'm sure we'll see them. Alfie says, we got our Richie back. I'm so amazed at the commitment he has to our football club. He could have taken a break till September, but now he fights for our badge. Yeah, absolutely. Nico says, Leeds are a much better side. I am more interested to see how we get on. Yeah, I will be going down to Leeds. I think Joe in the comments before said off to Leeds on Saturday. Looking forward to watching both teams play. Yeah, I'll be going down to Leeds as well. Can't wait. Hopefully a big win for Everton. Jason says, hello Cam, like the new format. Cheers Jason, appreciate that, my mate. He said, thought it was a good reception for Rafa and it was nice to see. Any updates on new signings? Buzzing after that result. No updates, mate, to be honest. We've been linked with a couple of players. American striker Hoope, I think it's pronounced, over the last 24 hours or so, but nothing too solid at the moment. Ajox says, I love that tackle that Alan did where he pushed the ball to the side like, this is my tackle, I got this. Yeah, amazing. Nico says, amazing to the fans. I hope I can make the trip to Goodison soon. Me too, mate. That would be amazing. Aquista says, I really wish I could watch us live one day. I'm sure you will be able to, mate. I'm sure you will be able to. Ajox says, I love Alan's leadership on the pitch. You can see him talking to the back four all the time. Yeah, he is. He's a leader. That's exactly what he is. He's a leader. He's a general. He's a midfield maestro. Dan says Barbosa would be class, but we need a forward. But we don't need a forward, sorry, we need a right winger. He would also cost too much. Aquista says, I reckon Gabriel Barbosa would be another one of those Brazilians with the same mentality as Alan and Richie. Fair enough. Nice to see. Gordon says Damba as well as Iwobi was seen on Saturday. He was. Joe says the goal was boss, but the celebration was 10 times better. Celebrating with the fans after all that time was great. It was. Aquista says it's possible to put a video on your wall. I can't, mate, for copyright reasons. I haven't got a video. If I had a video myself, if I'd filmed the goal myself and I knew it was coming, then I would. But I don't want to risk getting a copyright strike and having the channel potentially become under scrutiny because I've put a video up of somebody else's. So unfortunately I can't. But if you go on Twitter, and I'm sure on YouTube, there's a couple of Everton fan channels that have put that video up, but I just don't really want to take that risk. But it's there, it's available to see. If you want to see it and watch the replay as many times as I have, you'll find it on Twitter. We'll put it on our Twitter because it was Everton's video that we put on our Twitter. So if you haven't seen it already, I think it's titled "Pick That One Out." Or no, there's one of the view from the crowd, which is actually called Shoot. So the tweet is called Shoot. So go and find that tweet on our social media, and yeah, you'll be able to see that. Graphic says I edited the video of it, so had to repeat it like 500 times. So hoping I can stop soon. You don't want to stop, mate. You don't want to stop. You literally don't want to stop. It's an amazing goal. Nobody wants to stop watching that one, do they? Isaac says that Iwobi header was key also. It was. Nico says filthy goal. Aquista says Duke's only had one bad game he has. Was the first half, second half derby. After that he was boss. Yeah. Ajax says we need to stop losing to teams that we have no business losing to, like last season. If we do that, we'll get Europe. Yeah, I agree. Alfie says our attack and play style was superb. Rafa managing the likes of Iwobi and Coleman. He manhandles them into better footballers the way Rafa wants to play. Yeah, it's the tough Brazilians that seem to love to play. They do, mate. They do. That's Aquista. Wayne says Cam doing his mint for mint. Flashback commentary. Agree. The core best game for us. I want. More can be a bit. Yeah, spot on, mate. Keane says, imagine Holgate and Keane up against Lukaku this season. They'll get absolutely bullied. Going to be a nightmare. They can't deal with Armstrong and that. But it won't be, will it? Hopefully we'll have Mina. Hopefully we'll have Godfrey back in the team then as well. So, yeah, there'll be much more options than Keane and Holgate. But yeah, Nico says Leeds in a much better side. Dan Boy says, going to have to be smart against Leeds, soak up some pressure and hit them on the counter-attack. Spot on. Isaac says, Alan is a leader on the pitch. You can see him talking to everyone and clapping all the time. He has the energy. Pridey says, Cam, do you think we can beat Brighton, Burnley, Aston Villa, Leeds, all up to Man U? I do think we can beat them. Whether we will or not is a different question, but I think we can. Highlight of the game was the Decore goal, says Marcos. Is right. Pete says, felt like Groundhog Day in the first half, but that second half was quality. Exactly what Everton is. Getting the ball forward and crosses into the box. Every player around their arse off as well. You're spot on, mate. You're spot on. EFC Graphics says, surprised fans on Twitter didn't blame Iwobi's miss towards the end for not being left-footed. No, it was a good chance, but it was a difficult chance for Iwobes. Bob, she says the whole game's on the website. Oh, I meant my wall, says Aquista. I think if you save the video, you'll be able to post it, but there you go. Or do you mean your physical wall? Put that video of the Corey's goal physically on my wall in my bedroom. Oh, okay, I get what you mean. Get a little telly, mate. Drill a little hole in your wall. Get a little telly sorted. Do the electrics and that, and just play it on loop over repeat. Be sorted, mate. Sorted. And make it look like it's a picture frame, so that when people come in, they go, "Oh, that picture frame's nice," and then press a button and go, "Yeah, it's just a goal. I sit here and watch it on repeat every day." Yeah. Pete says, obviously we're still looking for a right back. Cam Hector Bellerin wants out of Arsenal. He's only 26. What do you think? Rapid good end product and knows the league injuries are my only worry. That's my biggest worry, injuries with Hector Bellerin. I think he'd cost too much, to be honest with you. I know he wants out, and I know Arsenal want him out, but I think because we're a rival to Arsenal, I think they'd probably want too much money for him than what Everton will be willing to pay for a right back, or Everton can pay for a right back in given our financial situation. Anyway, look, we're going to finish it up there then. Big win. Big win on Saturday, and important for Rafa Benitez to kickstart the new Premier League season with a win. If you've enjoyed this one, please hit that like button. It only takes a second. Massive thanks to everybody in the live comments. Really do appreciate it. If you're watching this YouTube video, leave your comments down below. And we'll be back tomorrow morning talking more about Everton, latest news, latest rumours, all of that good stuff. So don't forget to subscribe if you're new and hit that little bell notification, because it keeps you up to date when we're live and when we're uploading and when we're ready to talk about Everton, so you can get involved straight away. Like I said, if you've enjoyed this one, please hit that big thumbs up button. It means a massive amount to me, and it does help out, by the way. Some people think, oh, it doesn't help out, it's only a like, but it does, it really helps out. And if you're new, subscribe. Yeah, big thanks to everybody in the live comments. Really appreciate you getting involved. If you're watching this YouTube video, leave your comments down below. And we'll get involved with as many of them as we possibly can as well. Adrian says, great start to the season. Yet, spot on. Danway says, DCL needs a heavy chance. He does. Nico says, cheers, Cam. Cheers, mate. Alfie says, when the sirens came on, or even when the grand old team came on, I was getting goosebumps. Yeah, me too, mate. Me too. And Jedi says, Townsend and Gray made a big difference. Lacked so much pace last season. Yeah, exactly. Spot on, mate. Spot on. Anyway, look, big thanks for watching. If you've enjoyed this one, leave it a like. Subscribe if you're new. Massive win. Leave your comments down below. Big win. 3 points to start off with. Exactly what we needed. Up the toffees. Get in. Amazing to be back at Goodison. What a goal by Abdoulaye Doucouré. I'm going to go and end this team and sit and watch Abdoulaye Doucouré's goal for the next 18 hours. Big thanks for watching, and we'll see you soon on the Mighty Blues. Like I said, tomorrow we'll be back live, so don't forget to join us. Big thanks for watching. See you later.